Most of us who live in Butte recognize the area in the distance where Blacktail Creek joins Silver Bow Creek, the Chamber of Commerce, and the KOA, the empty undeveloped fields alongside the creek that trace George Street. We take for granted these empty undeveloped acres. This is the way it's been since most of us can remember. And most of us lived with this situation without knowing about the toxic materials buried alongside this corridor. Tailings washed downstream from the historic Parrot Smelter, where the Civic Center now stands. After all, it looks like green fields. Sort of. We also take for granted the Arrow Street ditch that we know as Silver Bow Creek, but that looks like what it has been made to be, an engineered waste collection system that's lined with grasses and water that can sometimes be seen. But it's not inviting, not attractive, and not the sort of mountain stream it once was. When we view this area from above, the way waterfowl traversing the corridor see it, we quickly recognize how different barren fields are from the rest of the creek, just a few miles downstream. We can't help but imagine what this area could become if it were restored to a more natural riparian state. But before we can let our imaginations carry us away, we need to take a first step. The toxic mine waste covering this corridor, beginning east of the Civic Center and extending west to the Chamber of Commerce, need to be removed. The same remedy that has been applied by Superfund all along the length of Silver Bow Creek downstream to Missoula needs to apply here in Butte. Take out the source of the contaminants. Remove the Parrot tailings. The north side tailings and diggings east. This whole area at the heart of Butte begs for development, for open green spaces, as well as residential or commercial development that takes advantage of both the natural attractiveness of the riparian environment and the central location midway between Butte's uptown and the flats. Butte deserves to have a more fully protective remedy under Superfund of the sort that communities downstream from Rocc to Missoula have received. Butte residents deserve an attractive, welcoming green space along the creek corridor. Butte businesses deserve the opportunity to develop appropriate commercial enterprises here that take advantage of the location between uptown and downtown. It's time to imagine what we could have, what we should have, when Superfund leaves town sometime in the future. We don't have to settle for empty fields where blue bones can be found that have soaked up copper from the contaminants in the groundwater. Reflect what we might have there instead. Imagine what sorts of developments and future uses that might be most fitting here. Ponds, parkways, multifamily residential use, attractions to visitors. Consider how much more a full restoration of Silver Bow Creek could accomplish in this central location. Imagine what a restored Silver Bow Creek in the heart of Butte could do for all of us. The possibilities are endless, and the choice is ours. This matter affects all of Butte, its residents, its public institutions, its businesses, and all of us need to step up and join our voices. Remove the Parrot tailings and their downstream residue. Restore our creek. Give us back the waters that once shone like silver in the sun, winding through this beautiful valley.
I'm Evan Barrett. The essential first step is to remove the tailings along the creek. According to the state of Montana, the Parrot tailings, the north side tailings, diggings east pose a serious and permanent threat to the environment. Contaminants from those tailings can end up polluting the cleaned up Silver Bow Creek and Clark Fork all the way down to the Columbia. As a result, we and the state say that the tailings should be removed as part of the remediation responsibilities of BP. Butte and Montana people, our local and state officials, must stand tall, and we must stand tall, and demand that BP do the right thing for Butte in the same manner that BP spent $61.6 billion in the Gulf of Mexico. So we send a message to BP tonight. BP, the Butte people are telling you it's time to stop fighting and pony up for Butte. Time to remove the tailings, restore the creek, and get it done.
Good evening, and I'd like to thank everyone for participating in the Restore Our Creek Rally. This important event is focused on the future of our community and ensuring a responsible cleanup for Butte. I want to thank Restore Our Creek Coalition for the good work that they have done to make the public aware of the decisions occurring in our community and to make sure these decisions are considerate of the public's wishes. As Chief Executive, I'm here to voice my support for Restore Our Creek Coalition's effort to get it done. That's why I'm here tonight to pledge Butte Silver Bow's support, getting the tailings out of water's way and restoring this area for the benefit of Butte's future. We continue to work with the state of Montana to prepare for moving of the county shops. The Council of Commissioners adopted a position paper in 2004, and we continue to stand behind this position. How cleanup and restoration will support economic growth and attract and retain families and businesses in Butte. Now is the time to get this done. Thank you for coming tonight.
My name is Stephanie Serini, and I am the Executive Director of the Butte Chamber of Commerce. I am pleased to be here, and I am very appreciative of the work that the Restore Our Creek Coalition has done with their efforts to make our community a better place to live and allow us to provide economic development by allowing us to recruit businesses, retain our current businesses, and promote tourism. So for us, it's very important, if we want to continue economic development, we want to continue to retain our current businesses and promote family, that this is a necessity in our community.
All right, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ray Rogers, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the National Center for Healthcare Informatics, a small business located here in Butte. And I've had the honor and the privilege over the past 2 years to be the board chair of the Butte Local Development Corporation, the entity with the task of being the primary economic development organization for Butte Silver Bow. So tonight I want to address you from the perspective of economic development, and in particular, how the removal of the Parrot, Northside, and Diggins East tailings and remediation and restoration of the Silver Bow Creek corridor is positive for the health and economic development of our community, and how a failure to conduct this removal could have serious negative consequences for the long-term health and well-being and economic development of Butte. We have great public and private schools. We have one of the best small science and engineering colleges in America right in our backyard. We have excellent health care, a skilled and ever-diversifying workforce, low cost of living, and some of the best outdoor recreation you can find anywhere. I've become acutely aware of how integrally connected the cleanup of our community is to economic development. With the complete removal of the tailings and remediation and restoration of the Silver Bow Creek corridor, the health and economic vitality of this community will improve. Let's do whatever we can to make this cleanup happen. Imagine what we can do. Let's restore our creek.
My name is Joe McClafferty. I'm the Vice President of our Vice Chancellor of Development at Montana Tech and University Relations, and the President of the Montana Tech Foundation. And I'm a Butte kid, but Butte's it's a wonderful place. It's got an incredible history. It's got the best people on the planet, but it's got a reputation that sometimes is perceived negatively. With Butte, we need to keep the history, but we need to lose that bad reputation. And the way we do that, the first way we do that is we clean this creek up. In the state of Montana, only 9,500 kids graduate high school every year. Of that, 60% of those kids don't go to college, 24% are going out. So it leaves about 4,500 kids in the state of Montana that over 20 higher ed institutions are competing for. Let's break that perception. Let's get rid of that reputation. Let's take Butte for what it is, all right? Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Denny. I'm Vice President of Strategy and Business Development for St. James Healthcare. We have two very specific areas that we're concerned about. One is being good as providers, good healthcare providers. The second area of concern for St. James is the health of the community. Granted, we've made some great progress over the last 3 or 4 years in changing those numbers and getting those better. However, we have a long way to go. Really taking a step to restore a creek really will get us to go show people that we are serious about the health of our community. And let's get it done. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tara Stratton. I'm a 14-year-old student at Butte High School, And these are my personal views, but I feel as if I'm speaking for all of the youth in Silver Bow. Everyone in this room knows about the buried mine waste along Silver Bow Creek, and to simply plant grass over the top of it and pretend that it's okay would be like me cleaning the house and just sweeping the dirt under the carpet. Now, if I did that, my dad would be mad. And we are upset that nobody wants to take responsibility for the mine waste, and they only want to argue about it for 30 years. My grandma would call this an out of sight, out of mind mentality. Instead of cleaning up the buried mine waste, they want us to drink the Kool-Aid by telling us everything will be okay. The blue water that came from the wells that they drilled is full of toxic, heavy metals, and arsenic. Would you want to drink this water? Or have your kids drink this water? Or your grandkids? Because nobody should have to drink this water. Now that was only blue Kool-Aid, but I wanted to make my point. Why would you clean up? Why would you clean up the downstream of where everything started and not clean up the initial area where all the mine waste began? The good thing is, I believe that everyone in this room is going to make this happen, and we will once again have a living and breathing stream running through Butte, Silver Bow. Now let's get our act together and get it done.
Good evening, I'm David McCumber, editor of the Montana Standard. Thank you so much to all the speakers who preceded me tonight. Just like so many people who've been fighting this fight for a lot longer than I have been, Butte knows who they are. Our brothers and sisters, so much strength and so much love in this town. Leaving the waste in the ground, the contamination in our water, and a sacrifice zone in the middle of our town is not good enough for Butte.
Amen.
We need a real cleanup. We need the pollution out of our soil, our groundwater, and our waterways. And speaking of waterways, the Metro storm drain isn't a storm drain. It's Upper Silver Bow Creek. Thank you very much to the Silver Bow Creek Coalition. It's not a sewer. We want it clean, we want it restored, and we want it flowing through the heart of our community, and nothing else will do. Our town needs to be known as the place where clean finally means clean and prosperity follows. Clean it up, get it done right, and restore our creek. Thank you.
What a great different view we've had tonight. But the whole time I was sitting here listening to these speakers, I'm looking at you guys and gals on that back wall. See, when this all started, I was your age. Joe Shoemaker made a comment on the radio the other day during an interview. I started this project thinking I could clean Butte up for my kids. Now I'm doing it for my grandkids and my great-grandkids. You'll hear about petitions being on the streets. We want every citizen in this community to sign those petitions. It'll be sent all the way up to the governor, to the president, to the EPAs, to the DEQ, to whoever it is. So get out there, get her done. Let's fight like hell for our community. Thanks for being here, and let's restore our creek. Thank you.